Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today is November 1st, which means that it is the start of National Adoptee Awareness Month. It was formerly known as National Adoption Awareness Month, but there's been a movement in the recent years to kind of change the narrative and change the title to be Adoptee Awareness Month. I have been making videos for National Adoptee Awareness Month for the last 5 years now. I started it in 2019, but this month is just a time for us to kind of talk, share our stories, amplify our voices, just talk about everything related to being adopted and then the complexities that come with that. So I always look forward to this month because I love talking about things related to my adoption and just my experiences and struggles that I go through. So I'm really excited for the videos for this year because I feel like I've had some life events and just some other things happen that I feel like are going to make some really good videos. With that little small intro, let's get into this first video for the month. Okay, so as you can tell by the title of the video, today I'm going to be talking about something called a genogram. So just for some context, if you didn't know already, I'm a master's student and I'm getting my degree in social work. And so a lot of people think that social work is more on the child welfare side with social services and child protective services. And while that is true, you can do a lot of other stuff with social work degrees, including going into the mental health field or any kind of clinical field. And so in one of my classes, we're just learning about how to kind of work with people, just because in every field that you're going into, whether it's welfare, like social services, or it's more like mental health related, you're always going to be working with and interacting with people. And so one way we learned how to do that is how to kind of take notes and how to remember information about our clients, because we see so many clients. And one way to do that was through something called a genogram. And basically a genogram is similar to a family tree. It's just a representation of client and their family members and then any kind of other health history. So I'll attach some example photos on the screen as I kind of keep talking. So the idea of a genogram is that it's all symbols. So you use circles and squares or triangles, you use slashes and zigzags to represent if relationships are severed or if someone has passed away or if they're estranged. And you just kind of, as the client is kind of just talking to you and opening up about their family and their history, you just kind of add on to that map. So the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because when I was first introduced to this, I thought a lot about family trees and just how family trees are very difficult for adoptees. And the first thing that I thought of when I was watching videos on a genogram is, what if someone is adopted? How do you represent that through symbols? And then when we got to class and we started talking about genograms, we actually have an example client that we're able to practice these skills on, and she mentioned that she had adopted her kids, and I was like, okay, so how do you reflect that in a genogram? And what I was seeing from other classmates is that when they made this genogram, they just made it as a normal line. So they didn't squiggle the line, they didn't highlight it in any different color, they just made the connecting line as children and then wrote off to the side that they were adopted. So that is one way to do it. But it just does make me think a lot about kind of just family tree assignments in school and how that has always been, oh, there's my cat. I just made a video about my cat in case you want to go meet her. Anyways, so I always struggled with family tree assignments, not really because it was hard for me to know my family history, but it's it just feels a little disconnected. It's this family tree is not my biological family. It is the family tree of my adoptive family, which of course is important. They are my family, but especially ones where you add photos of them, they're not gonna look like me. And I've known adoptees in the past who have gotten lots of comments and questions, and it's just really hard. It kind of connects back to DNA and finding your roots and just finding your biological family. So I think there's a lot of connection to that as well. But just anything that really has to do with like family history is really hard for adoptees. And so that was like the main thing I was thinking about with genograms, is like, if I were to have my own genogram, like how exactly would that work? And I'm curious to know, like, when they use this tool to work with their clients, like, how do they incorporate it with the adoptee community? Because it's really more so like the relationships between the people rather than the ties to them. So like, maybe someone has a kid, but they're close or they're not close, and so the genogram is supposed to highlight like their relationship. It still does make you think about a lot of stuff. But yeah, so kind of going back to like the family tree stuff, I think a lot of times when people assign you to do things like related to family trees, they always like automatically go to just biological family, and so that can be really hard for adoptees. So I guess the whole point of this video was just to kind of raise awareness on tools and projects and assignments that you may not expect to be taken in that way, but they can be, especially if you don't know someone is adopted, because obviously it's not a visible identity. So if you are someone who is going to assign a family tree assignment, or if you're someone who uses genograms in your field of practice, I would say just kind of be more conscientious of having clients who might be adopted, or having coworkers who might be adopted. And then on the other side, like if you have students who are adopted, and just kind of wording the assignment in a way that makes them feel good, and not making them feel like they have to be pressured to put in their biologically related relatives, because there's so many ways to make up a family, and not everybody knows their history and like how many like grandparents and uncles and aunts they have. So I think it's just really just trying to be more inclusive of different like family structures and ways to build a family. But yeah, that was kind of like what I wanted to talk about for this video, was just like because I had never heard of a genogram before. So if you have heard of genograms, I'm interested to know your thoughts on it. But I thought it was a very interesting concept, and because I'm adopted, like that's one of the first things I always think about anytime I learn something new, is like just how it relates to my adoptee identity. And I think especially in social work too, like I think about it a lot, just being adopted, and how working with adoptees as an adoptee, how that will kind of go and work, because I do want to work with adoptees. But obviously, like if you're working with someone who is going through similar experiences as you, it can be a little difficult to like kind of look at yourself in a mirror. So yeah, it's just always in the forefront of my mind, and I'm always thinking about it. And so I just wanted to share this with you in case you'd never heard of it, and just kind of make yourself aware of what they are and that they exist, and to just be mindful when using it. So yeah, if you have any more thoughts on it, I'd be interested to hear them down below. But that's all for this video. So thanks for watching and listening, and I hope you, where'd she go? Oh, there she is. And I hope you enjoyed my little kitty. But yeah, I'll see you all in next week's video. Bye.